We are now joined by Saints quarterback Tyler Shough, who got the news last Tuesday that you would be the starter. And it's Tuesday today, but it's different, right? Last Tuesday was a short week, went to LA early. Everything was different. This week, along those same lines, must feel a little different, a little more kind of comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, a little bit less of the unknown as far as just, we know what we have to do coming in this week, and that just get right back to the grind. We got to find how we can attack the Panthers this week, and I think there's a little bit of sense of let's get back to work here.
And as Coach Moore said, there's no perfect place to start, right? Go look at the schedule, right? Look at last week. Look at the upsets last week when you were to go, I don't want to start in Green Bay. That'd be a terrible play. Well, Carolina goes in and beats Green Bay. So there's no easy place. You must have felt the same way.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, man, let's just go do it. What a better opportunity is it going to be than the Rams, who, arguably one of the best teams in the NFL right now. And, it was a lot of fun to be able to go out there and play with the guys. And, it was frustrating to not start fast. And I think that was kind of the thing that we got to get, we got to be able to start faster, running the ball, get, some more shots down the field. And I think that's kind of part of the plan, is just to create some of those more opportunities. And I think, we're going to continue to do that. And it was good to just get out there, get your feet wet a little bit, and kind of be able to get after it.
And really kind of unique in that you had taken snaps in SoFi, and that doesn't always happen for your first start on the road, and you played them in the preseason. And, again, I'm on record. I hate the building. Maybe from a playing standpoint, I mean, with the sunlight and then shade and everything. No, it is. But you had some familiarity.
Yeah, correct. It is a unique place because it's almost like a greenhouse in there. You would think it's like nice, but it's almost extremely hot because it's just everything kind of cooks in there, but which you wouldn't expect. But I think you're 100% right. I think somebody told me, especially when you played in the NFL for so long, but once you've been somewhere twice, there's a comfortability factor, because I remember going in there in SoFi in preseason and almost every stadium since, like, you just don't know what you don't know. You don't have a routine yet necessarily, and that's kind of was the intentionality, and then throughout the coaches and the staff, and for me to kind of build my routine, get a comfortability factor, and then now you're kind of coming into this place again, and you know what to do, and now you can go out there and operate.
Yeah, you know where the locker room is. Yeah. Although it's even a crazy place where that's concerned. And you, maybe not, but I don't know what the Rams would have done. If the Rams had won the toss, they could have easily taken the ball, because it felt like that was their motive, going in, and they were just going to try to hammer away as early as possible. But that wasn't the case. First off, Cam's calling tails. That's a given, right? Win the toss. It's a minor thing, but it's about, hey, confidence, go out there, we believe in you, take the ball. And it didn't happen, but guess what? It didn't happen earlier when the Saints took the ball. But it was a vote of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think there's different strategies to both. Obviously, they won the time of possession in the game, but insurmountably by a lot, and I think that was kind of the main thing. And so it's just sustaining those drives, and is kind of the biggest factor, whether you get the ball first or not. And it came kind of, we fell short in the third quarter because they were able to come out there and hold on to it for a while. So at the end of the day, you kind of you learn from it, and I think there's benefits to both.
Yeah, those two areas. The first quarter, close. I mean, you had the 3rd and 7, got 6, then you had the sack. I mean, not being able to move in the first quarter. Unfortunately, it's not a you thing; it's been a team thing. The Saints have struggled in the first quarter, and then the third quarter must have been equally as frustrating, because your defense last week, against Tampa was just stout. But to sit over there when you had just gotten within 10, and they had an almost 10-minute drive, had to just be, God, just get me out there somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think from a momentum standpoint, and especially in the NFL and just football in general, is such a big thing. I think going into the half, we felt really, really good about it, and we weren't going to get the ball back. Was hoping to be able to get it, and I think it would have flipped the switch a little bit. And I think at that point, it just was really tough to get things going. Then you have a turnover right almost immediately, and it feels like, man, we got to start getting going here, or we're going to be out of it. So I think a combination of those things, and it's really great for me to see, just because it's like, how valuable each possession is, and especially in that middle 8 area to kind of get things flipped whenever, you're not always going to start fast. People are going to, have a really good drive, but
yeah, they have a script too. I mean, your scripted plays, they have a script too.
Yeah, so many, whenever I was a high school coach or a high school player, somebody told me the defense practices too, man. You don't have to get so frustrated if it doesn't go out the exact way you think it's going to go, because it's not going to. So, but you got to be able to manage those ebbs and flows, and ultimately, we didn't do that well enough as a team.
Feel pretty confident that you are as hard on you as anybody in this building. So as you've seen the clips, they used to be video, used to be tape. They're actually clips. 15 of 24, 176, the 1 sack, the 27-yarder, the 1 pick. We'll talk about. I mean, it was fourth down. You could have thrown it away and not had a pick. Big deal. Still, you're giving the ball to them. How do you look at your performance and kind of, I don't want to put a grade on it, but just tell me what you thought about it.
I thought it was encouraging from a standpoint of I didn't come in and I didn't feel that there was any nerves or there was any hesitation from a standpoint of I'm going out there and attacking. I think from a decision-making standpoint, there's really only nothing I really would have done differently. There was a throwaway play that looked like I was throwing it to Alvin that I could have found Jawan on. We were hot, could have maybe thrown it, dumped to him across the middle, and we could have had a positive play. Nothing too crazy, but would have maybe had that back. And then maybe a scramble play to kind of continue and utilize my legs a little bit more. But throwing the ball, decision-making, all that stuff, I think just kind of continue to build on that. And then, like you said, the interception is I'm doing exactly that every time on fourth down. You got to go make a play. And we were trying to get the ball to Olave and had to reset back and was hoping Sheed would kind of come back down the stem on that scramble. But yeah, that's just kind of how those things go.
You came in late in that preseason game and to really get to work the 2-minute offense. But then, don't get me wrong, we're not talking about the preseason game. I think it's the worst kind of barometer of much football. But you got that opportunity after the Joshua Carty miss, who really, I think it was just trying to miss Justin Reed. Justin Reed was so much in the picture. So you get it under a minute. And I want to talk about some of the completions, and we'll get to the Olave play and, of course, the Juwan Johnson. But to me, kind of that first pass to Shaheed, 13 yards, got to the 42, took the immediate timeout, and then just that play alone, there's the deep pass in between and then the Juwan Johnson. But in those two plays, the Juwan Johnson 8-yarder to midfield took a big hit. Now you're at midfield. Now you've used 2 timeouts, but there's 36 seconds left. Now you've flipped the field enough to where the pressure is now on the Rams if you putting points on the board. Correct? You feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in those 2-minute drives, in my head, you have to evaluate how much time do you have and how many yards do you have to go, and obviously timeouts. So if you have timeouts, then you can kind of operate normally per se. So you're trying to get positive yards, you're trying to get big chunks, but the less timeouts you have, the more chunk plays you have to get. So throwing a 5-yard out of bounds isn't necessarily the best play. It's a safer play, but sometimes you can be a little bit more aggressive. And she just ran a really good route, and we had Olave over the top as well. He was getting doubled quite a bit throughout the game, just from a game plan perspective, but got a big completion, and then they kind of were sinking a bunch, and that's where you can kind of throw it under to Juwan, and he had a really good spot up route to catch it, and like you said, you're in a more favorable position to where you can kind of start making some decisions.
When you let the ball go to Shaheed, which is just a go route, and I don't think there's anybody that can cover him. Emmanuel Forbes was on him, former, top draft pick in the first round with Washington. When you let it go, it had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, no, it felt good. I didn't know if he thought I was going to throw it that far. I was like, man, you don't ever keep running, especially I'm gonna sling it out there. And I think he said he lost it. I know
he lost in the sun.
I know he kind of stopped a little bit, lost it or something like that. But just stuff like that, it happens. But it was kind of good for all the guys to see go out whenever you're. I don't care if they're off or if we get the right look, we're going to go out there and attack it.
So then now it's the play to Chris Olave, and this is one of the things that Kellen Moore talked about yesterday, and that a lot of quarterbacks will back up and then go back and to the side, to either side. And you went up and to your right. I feel like the play initially was designed for Olave over the middle, But by the time you transitioned to the right, he kept going. I mean, and that was just, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. We were trying to potentially throw something underneath and to Sheed, and they kind of buzzed out quickly underneath it and took away that window. And just, obviously a huge emphasis, especially against a great pass rush, is you can't set the pocket depth too deep. And I can continue to be better at that just in general, but you don't want to take too deep of a drop, and obviously you want to be moving up. So a lot of those escape lanes and just big plays are had, whether I'm running it or you find it over the middle late. So I knew Olave was going to be in that general area because I knew that what his route was, obviously, but he just did a good job kind of staying friendly and found him late. And
I would assume every quarterback learns if you go backwards into the side, the defenders, defensive ends, and Byron Young and Josiah Stewart and Jared Verse and all of them, their speed is just too much, and on every team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I learned that earlier on. I think a lot of had like the easy part in college is you just take a drop and then now you can run around and escape this way and still stay on the move. But I mean, 98% of the guys are faster than you, so they can run the hump and then continue to chase you down. So you have to be able to escape in different angles, and it changes every single time. But that's the general thought of what's the best outcome is going to happen.
So after the catch, there's a penalty, and I want to get to the spike, right? So you're going to spike the ball. Now, Deuce and I had seen this before where the defender dives underneath Kobe Turner.
Yeah.
And it's any defender. This one happened to be Kobe. Were you expecting it? Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw you point at him after.
No, that was something that we talked about. I knew he was going to do it, and he still almost had it. And that was impressive because I took a step back, because a lot of times when you spike it, you just kind of quickly.
Yeah, straight down.
Just straight down. So I took a step back, kind of gave him a yard or a half a yard, and I was like, oh man, he still got pretty back there, and kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, kind of dangerous. But I don't know. I mean, I get it. I don't know.
Well, he comes in with his hands literally palms up.
Yeah.
And if your quarterback's not paying attention, although my next thought is, and I did not play the game. Not shocking that I'm sure you probably knew that. Is that if you kind of wait a half a beat, he's coming. It's going to be an offsides. Clock's going to stop, and you're going to get 5 free yards because he's coming on that almost first sound, your first movement. Right.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a hard deal because when you're clocking it, you want to clock it as soon as possible, so they know you're probably going to do it on the first sound. So you don't really want to fake clock it, but you can maybe wait, take a step back after you receive the snap. So it was just kind of one of those deals where you maybe just take a little bit more of a step back.
So you mentioned that Olave was getting doubled, and it looked like Olave was running just a corner route, flag route, and it looked like the defenders went with him. And so the pass to Juwan, was he just kind of went to the spot at the 3 and sat, right?
The touchdown?
Yeah, the touchdown.
No, we were actually trying to throw it to Avele there. We were trying to get him the ball and on that touchdown right there, singled up. And
where is he, on the right side?
He was on the right side by himself. Okay. Yeah. So we were trying to scheme some stuff up to him, and then it ended up not. They sat back there and doubled him, and Olave just kind of cleared the coverage out. And then really the ball never really goes to Juwan on that progression. Usually never happens that way, or it's just kind of there to occupy those defenders and then just kind of be an outlet. And we were able to kind of find them right there, which was just kind of a great progression, and kind of goes back to the preparation of all the guys of this is what we're hunting, but it might not happen, and you got to be able to find the answer.
Now it kind of feels like that play is different for me, because that would have been your third progression to get back to him, right? Yeah. So that speaks volumes, kind of at your comfortability, at least at this juncture, even though there's under 10 seconds to play.
Yeah, I mean it was hard for sure when you got the clock winding down. You're trying to throw this ball to Vele, the big target in the red zone, to kind of choke it down and then also move on to the next one. And especially to get that first touchdown to Juwan was pretty cool as well, who's been my friend for a while.
You had a timeout, but those 3 yards that he gained were, if he gets tackled, then now you got to call a timeout. Now you got to run a play.
Yep.
I mean, those were huge, right? Those 3 yards that he was able to get in the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, that's just yards after the catch wise, him being a physical force down there. That's what he's the best at. So he did a really good job of kind of catching and splitting two and getting vertical.
It was his 20th. It was your first. Mm-hmm. Where's the ball?
Where's the ball?
Where's
it's
the
on
ball?
It's already back here. They're the equipment guys. They're my guys, man. They're putting a little like inscribing on it or something like that.
You got a spot for it in the house?
Yeah, the equipment guys they got it sent back to New Orleans, and I got a little room at the house or something. We'll probably hopefully start a collection.
And your family was with you this week in LA?
Mm-hmm.
And having an athlete as a wife, Jordan, who played soccer at Oregon, one of the things that Jeff Nowak had said before the game was that, hey, that's cool that you're starting, but she's an athlete. She's like, go out and win.
Yeah.
You just starting's a good part. Now go win, man. It's got to be having that kind of support who's an athlete that kind of knows it's got to be cool.
100%. She's been that for me my whole life. Our whole relationship is kind of, in general, media, football, fans, team, like everything is built to either pump you up mentally or break you down, vice versa. So she kind of understands that dynamic is like, dude, you haven't done anything yet. You might as well just like go out there and have some fun. Like, just don't suck. And, verbatim, and I was like, and whenever you kind of have a bad game or maybe you're having a rough day, it's like, dude, go out, you believe in yourself. You're going to be fine. She'll give you the kind of that boost. And I think that's kind of the, what you need from your teammates, your the people around you. You're obviously the people are in your corner. So it was great to be able to get out there and see her, and then obviously continue to kind of build each week. What we got to do.
Long college career, but really, the Oregon situation because of COVID and playing behind Justin, and then not having the surgery with the collarbone in 21 probably impacted 22.
Correct.
And then the fibula in 23. And this is a weird question, but they weren't tendons, they weren't MCLs, they weren't ACLs,
no.
Right? Does that change?
Yeah, that was kind of the narrative that I wanted to at least convey to a lot of teams and evaluators, and obviously to the Louisville staff, which they received, was like, at Oregon, I only played the 6-7 games, and I was playing well throughout that time. And at Tech, I didn't get surgery the first time I broke my collarbone, just kind of this or that. Obviously I wish I did. Some doctors, I think 100% you should always plate and put screws in the collarbone. And the first time I got hit again next year, I broke the same one. Right. So it was just really crappy deal. And then once I got it plated, I was, back playing, and we finished the rest of the year undefeated. And then the next year I just got tackled by a hip drop, which is now banned in the NFL.
That was UT?
No, that was West Virginia.
West Virginia.
I broke the collarbone against UT. But I think the biggest thing that helped me out so much and kind of throughout this whole process was the mental side of it. Was I got to come back from a lot of that adversity and understand that nothing was really given to me, even though I may have felt I was deserving of a starting job, of whatever it may be, of going to the NFL. And you kind of had to go earn it, and it kind of freed me up mentally. And even coming out in the draft, I'm obviously labeled an old guy, and I am of age, but I'd still played the least amount of games out of everybody, as far as I didn't start from a freshman, played 50 starts in college, and had all this time to be evaluated, where I kind of had the mental maturity. But at least from a starting standpoint, I had started a bit, but I feel like there's so much room to grow.
So finally, just a few quick ones. I had spent 3 years in Lubbock. I was from the Virginia area. I don't know if this is an Arizona thing, but you have some Justin Ropers. Yeah. Did you have them in Arizona, or is that
Arizona's usually got quite a bit of everything, but I haven't had that in a while though. I will say the food in Texas, I was like, there's no way it can be beat. And I moved down to Louisiana. I was like, okay, now this is pretty good.
I mean, but they win chicken fried steak. That's what Lubbock wins. Murphy, loving New Orleans,
loving it.
New Orleans.
Yeah, loving it. I mean, I think we got a pool and everything. So I think that's probably her favorite part about living here is the hot weather. That means we usually are outside and in the water. So, but it's kind of, November now, the weather's feeling really, really good, which is kind of the best part of the year, which I'm here and which we're loving. And
then finally, you had a chance, you and your wife and Murphy, to kind of take in New Orleans a little bit? I mean, it's just OTAs, mini camp, LA. It's tough, but have you had a chance at all?
Nah, not really. From as much as we would want to do, I would say, and I think this off season, and obviously hopefully continuing forward, just to continue to pour into the city and do Mardi Gras and all that stuff. And it's so hard whenever you're week to week, but it's part of it, which we love. But I think we're really looking forward to getting out there and exploring some more.